Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I want to talk to you guys about two truck accessories that kind of go hand in hand. That's why I'm not going to do a separate video right after this. So you can see behind me I got a machine and a trailer in combination weigh about 10,500 pounds. I've been towing now for about 27 years. So I got a lot of experience of towing, and I'm very critical when it comes to safety when it comes to towing. I have a half-ton truck right now, and I've owned 3/4 ton, 1-ton trucks. I've owned them all. I've been through all different variations and different levels for different reasons. So, right now I'm currently running a half-ton truck just for the simple fact of gas prices and everything else. The way this truck is laid out with transmission and engine and the gear ratio in the back, I'm able to tow 13,100 pounds. Now, with a truck like this, I wouldn't go any more than what I have here right now, just for the simple fact that this truck only weighs about 5,100 pounds. I'm double of what the truck weighs. So I try to keep it, to that as the max for towing with a half-ton truck. After that, it tends to get a little squirrely. You got to worry about your braking. Even though the trailer has brakes, you got to worry about these type of things. And it's important to be safe when towing. So I kind of want to go over two things I've added to this vehicle. I've had two items now since 2017 that I'm putting on 3 different vehicles and different variations, based on what the truck was. So let's go over those two things right now, which are very critical for safety and, when you're towing. And these are just my opinions. Don't take what I say to heart. I'm not a professional engineer when it comes to these things, but I know these two items make it a lot safer when towing. So the first item is a product from Super Spring International. They are a progressive rate spring that replaces your bump stop. Now, it's not made out of rubber. There's no air involved. It's zero maintenance, lifetime warranty. And these microcellular polyurethane springs, which look like they're rubber, but they're like they're molded and they're poured here in the USA. They replace your bump stops, and as you add weight to it, it gets harder and harder to push down on that spring. So it lets your ride quality stay the way it is. There is adjustment on it, which I'm going to show you in a minute. There is adjustment on these. You can have these springs sit right on your axle. Only what time I would suggest that is if you always have weight loaded in your bed of your truck, because if you don't have weight in it, it makes it for a bouncy ride. So I had mine set about midway, so it leaves me about 3/4 to an inch before it engages in those springs. So let the truck sag just that much, and I'll let it hit that spring. And the reason for that is it prevents the sagging when you are towing. The springs, once that weight is engaged, those springs hold this truck up. So when I put on, that machine weighs about 8,000 pounds. When I put that machine on the trailer, which is another 2,000 some pounds, it keeps this truck from sagging. And the reason that's important is for two reasons. It keeps it a lot safer when you're towing. You won't have that steering wheel, feel light in front of you. Your truck's not sitting like this. You're not blinding people, if you're driving early in the morning or driving on the highway at night, etc. So it keeps, your headlights from blinding people. And it keeps this truck either sitting level or up a little bit the way it should be, with keeping that rake of the engineer of the truck. In the past I've had Toyota Tundra, which I don't know if they still do on the new ones, but on the Tundra you used to have a dial that when you were towing heavy and your truck was sagging and your headlights were aiming up in the air, you could adjust the dial and bring those back down. That's a nice feature. I think actually all truck manufacturers should put that in their trucks. Even with the springs or even with airbags, etc., you're always going to have some kind of, sagging in your back end of your truck, so your headlights are always going to go up a little bit. But with these, I wanted something that was maintenance free. They have to run airlines for it. They have to do any of that, and you just put them on. It takes about 10 minutes per side, depending what truck it is, etc. If you have it up on the lift, it's a lot quicker, but I just did them here in my driveway. It took me about 10 minutes per side. It's the most simplest thing you can add to your vehicle for safety. And it just rides better. It keeps that, that anti-sway, keeps that rolling of your truck, prevents that. And, it's just not for towing. Like I said, it's also good for payload. So say if you have a deck box inside your bed, which I've had in the past, or if you're constantly carrying a lot of heavy items, it's also good for that. It just keeps the truck more stable. It's just a better thing. And I wanted to find something, so I did research on it, years ago. And once I found these Sumo springs from Super Spring International, I've had them on every truck ever since. So let me show you a little close up of these and let's check them out. So you can see they just replaced your bump stops. Right now with that trailer on it, the springs are hitting my axle because of the weight of the trailer. So you can see how it sits on the axle and how it supports, and that's where your bump stops sit. Now, it took them a little bit to come out with this version for the newer F-150s, but they came out with it, and they have it for most of the main manufacturers and vehicles out there. They're for vans, etc. too. But you can just see what this does and how it supports. So it goes from your frame, and those springs sit right on your axle and support it. And as you can see, I have a little. You can see the adjustments on the side, and you got 3 holes. I had mine right in the middle right now, and when don't have any weight on the truck, it keeps those springs about 3/4 to an inch off the axle. Now you can go all the way up and keep like even more of a gap if you want to, but I would keep them set so they're not sitting right on the axle if you're mostly unloaded most of the time and only towing every now and then. And you can see how those springs are sitting right on the axle and they don't interfere with anything. And like I said, this is the most maintenance free item you can get for as a helper spring, etc. Instead of putting I've had leaf packs on my truck before, but this is the simplest, best way in my opinion to add stability and safety to your vehicle when you either have heavy payload or you're towing. And it's a simple install. The main thing is there's no maintenance. It's lifetime warranty, and they'll never have to be replaced of the lifetime of your vehicle. And to me, it's a no-brainer. And the price on them are very reasonable. And I thought about airbag options in the past, but I decided not to go that route. Like I said, with the adjustability on these, say if I did added the jack drawer system or had a lot of tools in the bed of my truck all the time, and I always had a lot of weight in this truck, then I would bring that setting all the way down to keep those springs right on the axle at all times, and let those springs engage, and it would keep me still have that rake of the vehicle that you're supposed to have and not have any other issues when all that payload. And it also prevents the your wear and tear on your tires too, because if you're always down sagging in the back in the rear of your truck, your front tires are going to wear out really quick because the camber on it's going to be like this. So that's our first item that we wanted to cover in this video. There's a lot of research you can do. I'll leave the link below to their website. Most of us tow that either fish or whatever, whether it's a bass boat, a kayak, etc. But when you're towing heavy like this, I definitely suggest, and I do a lot of heavy towing. If I ever go heavier, and I know I have to go heavier, then I would change vehicles. I would still add Sumo springs to any vehicle I ever own, and always will. So the next item I want to cover is my hitch. And all through the years I've had different styles of hitches. I've had different brands. And when I got the springs and I was looking into towing, I was like, I want to get a hitch that I have for life. And once again, I've changed hitches on different vehicles. This is a half-ton truck, so most of the time you have a 2-inch receiver. So this hitch from Gen Y Hitch, and I'll leave the link in the description below to their website. It's a solid piece of metal. Once again, it's made here in the USA. It's another reason why I purchased this hitch. And I've had, like I said, I've had the 3/4 tons, and a lot of times those hitches are 2.5 inch. So I hate adapter plates because to me it's another breaking point. And I've just purchased the 2.5 inch version of this with a 4-inch, with a 4 position drop before when I had my F-250. And another thing about the Gen Y hitches, me, when it comes to safety and towing, I always want to overdo everything. So this truck, like I said, the way it sits right now, can tow 13,100 pounds. I wouldn't do that in a half-ton truck, sorry. But this hitch I have right here is rated for 16,000 pounds. So I'd rather always overdo it than being right at the edge of what the hitch is rated for. That's just my personal thing. I always want to overdo everything so I don't have problems, because when you have this kind of weight behind your vehicle, you want something that's you feel confident behind you holding that trailer, because I mean that kind of weight can cause severe accidents, it can cause property damage, and it can cause loss of life. So to me, spending the money on the springs and spending the money on a good hitch is, to me, priceless, because I feel confident. Yes, accidents can still happen, but with this item and those springs together as a combination, it makes me feel a lot more comfortable going down the road. You know, when I'm towing this kind of weight, I still do not go over 55, just for the simple fact that, you know, the truck's brakes can only handle so much. Even with the trailer brakes, I don't care. I still won't go over 55, and I leave a lot of room between me and the car in front of me. And you always know when you leave room, someone always cuts in front of you, so I just keep constantly backing off the gas. And that's how I tow. I try not to touch the brakes as much as possible. I use the, you know, the tow haul mode in all my vehicles when I run it, but I also, when needed, I'll use the manual downshift to also help just let the trans slow down the vehicle instead of heating up the brakes. That's another thing for me too, because when you start heating up your brakes and you're in a lot of stop and go traffic, you know, you could have brake failure too. So I just wanted to kind of cover these two options, or these two accessories that I put on all my vehicles, no matter whether it's a half-ton, three-quarter, or 1 ton. These are two items that I'm always going to have on all of my vehicles. Even if I get like a Jeep or something, I'm still going to use a Gen Y hitch, and I'll still use, you know, Super Springs. The Sumo Springs from Super Springs International. But I'll just show you a close-up of the hitch, and also a couple features of this hitch as well. So this is the model I have. It's GH523, and you can see the ratings on it. It's got a 2K ton weight rating on it too. It's a 5-inch drop, which is perfect for a half-ton, most half-tons. It comes with a 2 5/16 ball. It comes with a 2-inch ball, and I also got the pintle attachment, which slides into here, which I'll show you that piece in a minute. It slides into here, and you can see there's a pintle catch on the 2 5/16. So either you can flip this, you know, another thing about the Gen Y is you can flip this upright, have it way up here, have your 2 5/16 ball sticking out, and then you can put the pintle attachment in this, and that slides in and locks in on these pinholes, and that's what keeps the pintle trailer, you know, hitch, receiver, whatever, attached to the hitch itself. And I'll show you that piece in another minute. And also, this is solid steel. The shank is solid steel. It's not hollow at all. Comes with stainless steel pins, which have a little bit of a quick, you know, a little bit better of a system, the pin to pull out. I always leave it pushed all the way in, just me being always conscious of everything. And you can, you know, like I said, this can go either up or it can go down, so it has a lot of adjustability to it. Another thing too, you have this hole here in the middle, and that hole is also to add an 1 7/8 ball, which you could bolt right through this, you know, when you turn this thing sideways. Or you can actually put like a tow hook in this that they sell too, or you can also use this, I don't know if you know those off-road articulating trailers, you actually slide the pin from the trailer right through this, and that's another way. So this, another way to tow that kind of trailer. So as you can see, this hitch covers everything. That's why I got the pintle accessory with it too. So no matter what I'm towing, I'm covered. Now most of the time I always use this either 2 5/16 or a 2-inch ball. I use pintle every now and then. I never use our articulating trailer. You never know with me, and I might get an off-road trailer one day, the way I buy things. And you know, so this hitch will last me for whether I have, you know, basically have any half-ton truck with a 2-inch receiver. I won't use this on a 3/4 ton with the adapter plate. Like I said, it's just another, to me, it's just another fail point. I've heard stories where that adapter plate that goes into the receiver has sheared right through the pen before, and to me, it's just another item to fail. So if I get a 2.5-inch receiver, and there's some 350s out there with a 3-inch receiver, Gen Y has you covered and has those, you know, the different hitches to go into those different receiver sizes. But you know, this is a hitch that you buy once and you're done. So if you stick with half-ton vehicles for your whole life, you could buy one hitch, spend the money, something, you know, durable and strong and safe to tow all your trailers with, and it'll last you for life. So you know, you buy once, you cry once, as they say. So to me, I'd rather spend the money on a good hitch and spend the money on, you know, the Sumo Springs and feel safe and comfortable when towing. So here's the pintle adapter. So you slide that right into your one of your holes on your receiver, and it goes over the top, and you have your 2 5/16 ball, which I have the 2-inch ball, you know, right now because it's connected, but just imagine, you know, this is in reverse, and that basically locks in your pintle and makes your connection. It'll slide right into any of these holes, and you got to use the 2 5/16 inside, because that's why they have this. It's kind of like the pintle hook catch. But as you can see, this covers everything. This hitch is with you for life, and it's worth the money, and it's made in the USA. So as you can see, that's a lot of weight, and it's keeping our truck level right now instead of sitting sagging in the back. Yes, it went down quite a bit, but it's still keeping all that weight where it should be on the rear axle instead of, you know, pulling up on the front of that truck and making it really sag. But you can see a close-up here of the springs once I can get back here, and you can see how it did compress on the axle. You can get in there and see it, and the harder you press on these, the more harder it is for it to actually go down. So, you know, these are the not the heavy duty ones, they're one below it. These are rated for another additional, like, you know, it's rated to support 1,500 pounds. They have one above that, but it's going to make it really stiff, and at that point you shouldn't really be putting that much weight on this vehicle anyway. So I just want to go over with you these two accessories that I put on my vehicle and the reason why. As you can see, with this amount of weight that I tow, and I do this quite a bit, I wanted a hitch that's solid like that can take that brunt force of the machine dropping. Normally they don't drop that fast because the pistons on these are usually a lot better and it lets it come down softer. Unfortunately, it's a bad piston on the trailer, so it did make it slam like that. When I was loading it at the rental place, it kind of threw me off guard. You know, I still went up slow, but I wasn't expecting to slam the way it did. But, you know, it makes me feel comfortable with that Gen Y hitch being solid metal instead of hollow. If that was hollow, that would probably have kinked that and bent that, you know, that hitch itself. And with the Gen Y, it makes me feel comfortable to be able to take that kind of weight. Now, do I do it like that most of the time? No. Normally I have a trailer that doesn't slam like that, so it's a little softer on the truck and the suspension. But, you know, I'm also sitting on kind of an angle here, so it's also making the truck sit a little awkward too. But, you know, if I was on the level surface, it would be the truck would be sitting a little bit better than the way it is right now, but I'm kind of like leaning, you know, on an angle, you know, on the side of my house here, and so is the trailer machine. But, you know, I hope you guys like this video. Like I said, I'm not an engineer. Don't take my word for advice. This is just opinions, and I just want to show you how these things operate and take the weight, you know, and take that brunt force and make me feel comfortable when I'm towing. But it's two accessories that you guys will not regret buying, especially if you tow a lot. Now, if you don't tow a lot, Sumo springs are still a good add-on to your vehicle for any payload, or if you do go pick up heavy things every now and then, you can adjust those Sumo springs so they sit up a little higher, so you're not really always engaging those springs. And when you do load up heavy, it's going to hit that one point, and it's going to kind of pretty much stop it from sagging. And then those springs will be engaged and work the way they're supposed to, and that helps a lot of that body roll. Because when I'm towing this and doing turns without these, I've towed with, you know, I was waiting for this particular model to be made for this vehicle. I have towed heavy without those before, and as you take that turn, I could feel that truck really shift when I was taking a turn, even at a slow rate. Once I've had the Sumo springs on here, it's made a world of difference. It makes me feel that much more confident when I'm towing. And like I said, the hitch, you can't go wrong. You buy one hitch, you're done, and you just move it from truck to truck. So we all use trucks, we all tow, and, you know, a lot of people look into airbags, and I just think they're okay. There's nothing wrong with airbags. You know, 18-wheelers have airbags, but it's just something you have to maintain, worry about leaks, and when it fails on you, you don't want your truck sitting sideways, so you have to, you know, take the air pressure out of the other bag. You can manually fill them, or you could have like a compressor built in. You could have a compressor go bad. The Sumo springs are just something you put on, you set and forget, and you're done. You know, same thing with your hitch. You put your Gen Y hitch on, you can adjust it to whatever trailer you're towing, and you're done. So, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up and all that stuff that everybody says, and I'll catch you guys on the water. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.